Hi and welcome to Inktober Tangles 2025. We're on the last day. I know, I can't believe it's the last day. How did we get to day 31? Today we're drawing IDoZ, International Day of Zentangle. That's an acronym. This one's deconstructed by Zentangle Inc, and they taught this one on the very first International Day of Zentangle, which was a day that brought together lots of different tanglers from all over the world. We all tangled together online and it was a brilliant day. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble. So instead of rambling, I'm going to just get started on creating this tangle. So we're going to create a tear shape that comes in from one of the corners into somewhat in the centre. And we'll create that. I'm going to create it today with a tear shape that kind of goes towards every corner. But that's not to say that IDoZ always has to be a tangle that's got 4 teardrop shapes. You could do IDoZ with 4 petals, but this is the way that we're creating it, so that by the time that we get to this last teardrop shape, the previous strokes that we've created of the IDoZ shape, they're starting to overlap one another. So that first one looks like it's on the very top. And then we're going to add an aura line onto the edge here on the left hand side, all the way around. And then we will repeat that on the opposite side. And you can just tuck that in like that. And in case you haven't watched my last couple of videos, because I've been filming from day 28, I've been filming in a batch, and I've apologised for the fact that I have a runny nose. I feel dreadful today. I've got a cold, but I thought, no, I've made it all the way this far to the last 4 tangles, and I want them to be out on time and scheduled and whatnot. So I will not be beat. I'm here. So I just want to apologise for any sniffing, because it's probably irritating, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to go around again and create another aura line. Do that all the way around, and then guess what, we're going to do that on the other side. And I'm starting to run out of shape now, but that's fine. Run out of shape? How do you run out of shape? Space, I think I was trying to say. So when it comes to the embellishing IDoZ, you really could do what you like. I'm going to break these individual shapes up so that there's a kind of narrower section in the centre. You could do this, you could not bother doing this, it's up to you. Do that on each of these shapes. And then within those newly created centre shapes spaces, I'm going to put some orbs. And just do that in every single centre section. And you can see I'm not actually drawing the full orb shape. I draw as if some of it's disappearing under its neighbour. If you wanted to, obviously you could create your full shapes and then they don't have to look as if they're overlapping. Just whatever you feel you would prefer yours to look. So this tangle is really quite versatile. You could have so many different ways of shading and highlighting and adding colour, not adding colour. It's a really good one. So what I'm going to do now is on these individual tiles, teardrop chop shapes up at the top, I'm going to shade around the edges of all of those. There are going to be some bits where I add more graphite to than others, because obviously the very first shape was a full shape and then the other shapes were underneath. So you'll see what I mean. I'm hurrying this. I shouldn't be hurrying it. Slow it right down. This is the fun thing about the Zentangle method, is just taking a moment and just slowing your day down. So now that I've got those areas like with the graphite on them, I'm just coming in with my blending stump and smoothing that out. And then on the other sides as well. And then where I've got these orbs overlapping one another, I'm going to put some graphite pencil there. I was debating whether to add some graphite in these sides, you know, on either side of where those orbs are, but I think I'm going to actually put graphite as if those orbs are kind of inside that pea pod a bit more, and as if these sides of the, I'm calling it a pea pod, obviously that's what it looks quite like. So instead of going outside of those lines, I'm going to put it as if those orbs are just smooshed right inside. And then I'm going to also add some graphite on these extra bits at the sides where we created our aura lines. One of these, the good things about this tangle in particular is that it does build up quite quickly, and then depending on what you do with your IDoZ, you could spend quite a while on it. You know, if you were adding some different fillers, it could take more or less time to complete it all. That's really relaxing though. Just one stroke after another. So that's me for all of the graphite, and I'm going to come in now. Actually, I'm thinking, no, I'm going to come in either side of these orb shapes, and just on this, I'm not going to do these stripes on all of the orange shapes. Just on the original teardrop shape, I'm going to add stripes I might do it on both sides, but I'm going to at least do it on this side and then I'll see what I think. I just feel like I want to differentiate that top one from the rest. I'll see what it looks like in a minute. I quite like that actually. Right, what I'm going to do is, because I can see what it looks like when it's half of the space has that stripe and the other half doesn't, but I'm going to complete this so that each side has the stripes, and then I can always look back and see whether I think I should have added the stripes on both sides or not, because I can always recreate it again. Don't be afraid to experiment, because it's just a piece of paper and a pen. It's not life or death. It's supposed to be fun. Oops. Everything's escaping. So I am now coming in with the white pastel pencil, and I am just in the opposite from where the shade is, just brightening it all up. And I think I'll have some shade, some highlight down the centres here. And I think on the outsides of each of these orrid bits, I'll add some highlight. So you may know by now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I'm skipping too far ahead. I'm going to just smooth. Sometimes I don't smooth my pastel pencil lines out, but I think in this instance, I think it would be worth doing that. So I'm just going in with my blending stump and just smoothing that all out. And then what I like to do is to retrace lines where they've become a bit dulled in the process of shading and highlighting. So you're literally just retracing, and what's nice about that is you don't have to there's no guesswork. You're literally putting the pen over a line that you've already created and you're just strengthening it, making it more bold. And I find that really relaxing. It's funny, like, I talk to people sometimes about the Zentangle method and they say, oh, you mean like colouring? And to me, I'm like, oh no, it's so much more than colouring. Like, I've been into like adult colouring and all that kind of thing, and yeah, I do enjoy colouring, and there's certain times when I'm tangling, I'll add colour and I'm inking it in and all that kind of thing. So there is an element of colouring in Zentangle, but it's way much more than colouring. And I much prefer retracing lines and creating them in the first place than to just simply colour. I find colouring fairly boring. I don't know about you, you maybe love it. Do you like colouring books? Let me know in the comments. I actually, a while back, I did a video on Instagram because I'd bought a reverse colouring book. And I loved that, because the idea of a reverse colouring book, if you aren't familiar, is that the colour is it's like an abstract watercolour pattern. So the colour is already on your page. You're basically adding the lines. And you can do it in different ways. You could go around, like you could add ink to the edges of the area that's on the page, or you could tangle inside the coloured blobs. It's just, I love that so much more than colouring myself. But that might just be me. Let me know, do you know about reverse colouring? Have you tried reverse colouring? I think that's much more interesting than standard colouring books. That could just be me. Can't believe I'm just about finished my last tangle of Inktober Tangles 2025. It's crazy. Time flies. So I don't have much space for a chop, but I'm going to just teeny chop in here. And then I can call that done. I'm just going to add a little bit of shade. And there we have IDoZ by Zentangle Inc. So I've done it previously. I think this might have been what I created for International Day of Zentangle when we did the first, you know, the unveiling of this tangle. I've got it on this page here as well, and you can see it's done in quite a different way than I've just demonstrated it just now. And I've done it here in a map tangling format as well, whereby you add some watercolour blobs, sort of like the reverse colouring that I've just been describing. You put the watercolour blobs down, you let the colours run into one another, and then once the colour dries, as you can see, you tangle only on the coloured areas, and then you leave the background be. So that's quite cool. I really love map tangling. I've got a blog post on map tangling, so I'll include the link to that blog post in my description if you're interested in finding out more about map tangling and seeing some inspiration for that. And here, I'm not finished with this yet, but this is the bigger work that I've been doing, the bigger piece that I've been doing for Inktober Tangles. I keep saying it's busier than my usual taste would be, but I did want to collate everything on one bigger piece of paper, so it is pulling together. The more that I kind of repeat elements, like, you know, I've got Shattuck here and I've got Shattuck over here as well, and you know, I've got Cochombros here and Cochombros here, so yeah, it's quite nice. I do quite like it. It's just a wee bit busy. So thank you so much for joining in. Each and every comment that I've been getting on this Inktober Tangles challenge, you cannot understand how much I appreciate each and every comment, because you're all so supportive, and I love this community in Zentangle. It's just wonderful. So thank you so much for any of your comments that you've given me now, and indeed any comments in the future. And I hope that now that we've come to the end of Inktober Tangles, if you've just discovered me during this challenge, I hope you'll stick around and see any videos that I'm going to put out in the future. I usually do a video a week. They tend to be a bit longer than the videos that I've been doing for Inktober Tangles. Just obviously I need to keep them short for this because I'm doing them every single day, or I have one scheduled to go out every single day. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'm planning as well to do a kind of wrap up video. And I haven't written it yet. But hopefully by the time that I have published this, scheduled this to go out on YouTube, hopefully I'll have a link for my blog post as well, and just my thoughts on this year's challenge. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please do give it a like, and I hope to see you for some more soon. Thank you. Bye.